Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We dive deep into the fascinating and sometimes unexpected world of rare coins, collectible currency, and valuable finds that could be hiding in your pocket change right now. And today we have something truly extraordinary that every collector, hobbyist, or casual viewer needs to hear about, because what might seem like just an ordinary 1996 1-cent coin could actually be worth a staggering $402. Yes, that's right, $402 for a single penny. And the reason lies in the intriguing world of mint errors, die varieties, striking anomalies, planchet imperfections, and a unique set of circumstances that make this coin a true gem for numismatists across the globe. So stick around because we're going to explore every detail that contributes to its surprising value, starting with a basic understanding of how coins are minted and what can go wrong during the process, because in the world of coin collecting, mistakes often mean money. And the 1996 penny is a perfect case study of how certain production errors combined with rarity, demand, and condition can elevate a common coin to the status of a coveted collectible. So let's begin with the basics. The 1996 penny was struck at the Denver Mint, designated by the D mint mark under the year, and like all Lincoln cents minted after 1982, it was made primarily of a zinc core with a thin copper plating, a composition that itself can lead to problems and valuable errors. Because zinc is highly reactive and the copper plating is incredibly thin, making these coins susceptible to plating blisters, peeling, corrosion, and other post-mint issues that can still sometimes result from the minting process if defects were already present on the planchet. Now, one of the most sought-after features of a 1996 penny worth hundreds of dollars is a dramatic off-center strike, where the coin is not properly aligned during the striking process, and this misalignment causes part of the design to be missing while another portion of the blank planchet is still visible, creating a striking and highly collectible piece. And the more dramatic the off-center error, the more valuable the coin, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible, which allows collectors to identify and authenticate the error coin with certainty. But off-center strikes are only the beginning of the story, because another extremely desirable error on 1996 pennies is known as a double die, particularly a double die obverse or reverse where the die itself carried a misaligned or repeated image due to a hubbing error, and this doubling manifests as noticeable overlapping or shadow-like impressions on the date, the lettering such as Liberty or I in God We Trust, or on the reverse in United States of America and 1 cent, and these double dies are considered true die varieties, not machine doubling, which is far more common and far less valuable. So when collectors come across a strong double die on a 1996 penny, particularly one in uncirculated or near mint condition, the demand and market value skyrocket, especially since most double die varieties for that year are scarce and not often found in circulation, adding to the rarity and thus the price. And then there's the ever-popular repunched mint mark error, known among collectors as RPM, where the D mint mark was punched more than once in slightly different positions, creating a shadowed or doubled effect that is very noticeable under magnification and highly sought after in the collecting world. And while repunched mint marks were more common in earlier decades, examples from the mid-1990s are much rarer and thus command strong prices when authenticated and preserved properly. But let's not forget the striking errors related to die cracks, die chips, and cuds, which result from deteriorating or damaged dies that imprint unintended raised lines, blobs, or even missing portions of the design onto the coins during striking. And such anomalies on a 1996 penny can add to its uniqueness and value, especially when they appear in dramatic or large formations, and collectors love these because no two are exactly alike, giving each coin a sense of individuality and history. And then we must talk about the transitional errors, which, while not confirmed as common for the 1996 penny, always intrigue collectors who keep an eye out for anomalies such as wrong planchet errors, where a coin might be struck on a foreign planchet or a blank intended for a different denomination, resulting in an incorrect weight, size, or composition. And in extremely rare cases, these transitional errors can turn a common-looking coin into an ultra-rare piece worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So imagine finding a 1996 penny struck on a dime planchet or with a silver-like appearance due to a planchet mix-up, and you'd be holding onto a truly valuable mistake. And speaking of planchets, plating errors are a major source of value in modern zinc core pennies, because poor adhesion or incomplete copper plating can result in exposed zinc areas, giving the coin a mottled or silvery look that stands out dramatically from normal examples. And while many of these result in post-mint damage, some are indeed caused by genuine mint errors, such as improperly annealed planchets or early peeling that occurred before the strike, which can be verified by professional grading services and increase the coin's appeal and market value. and on top of that, we also have striking anomalies like blockage errors, where a previously struck coin sticks to the die and leaves a mirrored impression on the next coin, resulting in a fascinating and highly collectible mirrored design that looks almost like a ghost image, and such blockage errors are extremely rare and valuable, especially on modern pennies like the 1996 D, where quality control had improved but errors still occasionally slip through. And then there's the influence of coin condition, because even a valuable error needs to be in good condition to command top dollar, so when a 1996 D penny with one of these rare errors is also found in uncirculated or mint state condition, graded MS65 or higher by services like PCGS or NGC, it can easily fetch hundreds of dollars or more, and coins with red luster, no visible wear, sharp details, and pristine surfaces are especially prized by collectors and investors alike, and when you combine a strong error with a top-tier condition, that's when values like $402 become not only possible but even conservative, especially when the market is hot and collectors are competing for high-grade examples, and beyond the technical errors and condition factors, there's also the psychological and historical allure of owning a piece of numismatic art that carries a story, a coin that wasn't supposed to turn out this way but did, and somehow made it through the minting process, quality control, distribution, and circulation to end up in the hands of someone who recognized its uniqueness and preserved it, and that story alone adds intrinsic value to many collectors, making them willing to pay a premium for an error coin that captures a moment in time and a fascinating chapter of minting history, and sometimes even minor variations in how the zinc reacted to the copper plating, or how a die struck a slightly rotated or misaligned image, or how a planchet was improperly prepared, can lead to unique outcomes that excite numismatists and fuel demand in the market, because in the world of coin errors, rarity is king, and visual appeal is queen, and the 1996 D penny has given birth to a wide variety of these desirable traits, and when authentication services confirm these errors and assign numerical grades that reflect their condition and rarity, those coins often find their way to auctions where competitive bidding drives up the prices, sometimes well beyond the $402 mark. Especially when a coin has exceptional eye appeal or historical significance, and for those curious enough to examine their spare change or coin rolls from the bank, the possibility of finding a valuable error coin like this remains a thrilling prospect, because these coins are still out there, tucked away in jars, drawers, or even in circulation, waiting to be discovered by someone with a sharp eye and a bit of luck. So whether it's a bold doubled die, a dramatic off-center strike, a rare repunched mint mark, or a one-of-a-kind planchet or striking error, the 1996 D penny has all the right ingredients to surprise collectors and reward those who take the time to look closely, and as always, the key is authentication and understanding the difference between true mint errors and post-mint damage, because only genuine mint-made anomalies have value, and professional grading services offer the expertise needed to distinguish between the two, so if you think you found a 1996 D penny with something unusual, be it a doubling, a mistrike, an odd texture, or just a general sense that it looks different from others, it's well worth having it evaluated, because you just might be holding a coin worth much more than face value, perhaps even $402 or more, and as we continue exploring the hidden treasures among our everyday currency, stories like this one remind us that with a little knowledge, curiosity, and attention to detail, even a humble penny can become a prized possession, a rare find, and a gateway into the rich and rewarding world of numismatics where history, artistry, and value intersect in fascinating ways. So the next time you come across a 1996 D penny, don't dismiss it, examine it carefully, compare it to known errors, consider its condition, and if something seems off, you might just have a collectible gem in your hands, one that connects you to the broader history of coin production, error collecting, and the surprising value hidden in plain sight, because when it comes to error coins, next 1986 D1 USA coin. Today we dive deep into the captivating world of coin collecting and rare currency treasures, and in this episode, we're uncovering the fascinating story of the 1986 D Lincoln 1-cent coin, which surprisingly has been reported to fetch up to $349 due to its unique errors, striking mistakes, and various rare possibilities that make it a hidden gem in the pockets of ordinary Americans who may not even realize they are carrying a valuable piece of numismatic history. And this journey will explore every single aspect of what makes this humble-looking coin potentially worth hundreds of dollars, beginning with its basic mintage and design origins. The 1986 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark beneath the date on the obverse, and during that year, over 4.4 billion 1-cent coins were minted in Denver. making it one of the most common issues at first glance. But rarity in coin collecting is not always about low mintage numbers, but rather what sets one specific coin apart from the rest in terms of striking errors, planchet anomalies, die misalignments, doubling effects, off-center strikes, and more. And while most 1986 D cents are only worth their face value, a small number of them contain significant minting flaws that dramatically increase their desirability and value among collectors. And what makes these particular errors valuable is the way they challenge normal expectations of how coins are supposed to look and perform, with errors acting as a window into the complex and often unpredictable minting process where things can and do go wrong. And these mistakes are not just accidental quirks but actual physical evidence of historical lapses or moments of miscalibration that capture the curiosity and fascination of numismatists. And to understand the allure of the 1986 D penny that sold for $349, we must start by examining the most commonly reported errors on this issue, beginning with the widely discussed double die obverse varieties in which the design elements such as the motto, "In God We Trust," the word "Liberty," and the date, 1986, appear to have been struck twice or more due to a misalignment between the die and the hub during production, leading to a distinctive doubling effect that is most noticeable to the naked eye under magnification but sometimes can even be seen without a loupe. And this doubling gives the coin a ghostly echo of the original design that dramatically increases its collectible value. And while not all double dies are created equal, those with stronger and more visible doubling often command higher premiums at auctions or in private sales. And then we have the case of off-center strikes, where the coin blank is not properly centered during the striking process, leading to a portion of the design being cut off or missing entirely. And depending on the degree of off-centeredness and how much of the design remains visible, these errors can be worth anywhere from a few dollars to hundreds. And in the case of the 1986 D penny, some extreme off-center strikes of 50% or more with a full date and mint mark have reached values close to $349 or even more depending on the overall condition and appeal of the error. And then there's the strikingly rare broad strike error in which the collar die fails to properly encase the planchet during striking, allowing the metal to spread beyond the usual diameter, creating a larger, flatter penny that lacks the normal raised rim and gives the coin an almost medallion-like appearance. And collectors love these because they dramatically deviate from normal expectations and highlight the delicate machinery involved in minting millions of coins per day. And moving on, we also encounter clip planchet errors where a portion of the coin is literally missing due to a misfeed in the blanking press which cuts the coin flan improperly. And these clipped coins, especially when they display clean, curved, and symmetrical clips, are highly sought after when they also show the correct metal flow lines or Blakesley effect on the opposite side of the clip, confirming their authenticity as genuine mint errors rather than post-mint damage. And many examples of the 1986 D penny with both a clip and another secondary error such as off-center strike or die break have fetched premium prices in collector circles. And one such coin in MS65 condition with a dramatic curved clip and retained cut error was valued at $349 due to the visual drama and rareness of the combination. And speaking of die breaks, another error that adds value to the 1986 D cent is the retained or full die break, also known as a cut error, where a piece of the die breaks off during minting and allows molten metal to flow into the void, creating a raised blob of metal on the coin surface that does not match the original design. And these can appear near the rim, in the fields, or near the devices of the coin. And large, dramatic cuts can command high premiums, especially when combined with high-grade condition. And one such 1986 D example with a full cut obscuring part of Liberty sold for hundreds due to its bold appearance. And then we must not forget the transitional errors where a coin is struck on the wrong planchet, such as a foreign coin blank or an older or newer composition. And although rare, there have been reports of 1986 D pennies struck on dime planchets, leading to a smaller size and incorrect weight which immediately grabs collector attention. And these coins have sometimes slipped through quality control due to their small run and the immense volume of daily production. And when found in decent condition, these wrong planchet errors can go for hundreds or even more depending on what planchet was used and how much of the design is visible. And in some extremely unique cases, collectors have discovered 1986 D pennies with multiple errors on a single coin, such as an off-center strike combined with a broad strike or a die clash and double die. And when multiple error types coincide, they dramatically increase the uniqueness of the coin, which is the very principle behind collectability, rarity, and value in numismatics. And another subtle yet interesting area of focus is the presence of repunched mint marks or RPMs, where the D mint mark has been stamped more than once in slightly different positions, leaving behind a ghostly shadow or doubling effect around the letter, which Collectors track and catalog as part of die variety studies, and certain RPMs on the 1986 D cent are rare and, when in top condition, command notable interest among variety collectors and Lincoln cent specialists who often pay significant premiums for clean, dramatic examples. And then there are strike-through errors where foreign material like grease, cloth, or other debris gets between the die and the planchet during striking, causing part of the design to be missing, distorted, or filled in. And these coins exhibit strange textures or missing elements, and especially when the error affects major parts of the coin such as Lincoln's face or the date, the uniqueness of the coin multiplies. And then there's the matter of condition, which plays a huge role in valuation, because a mint error in poor condition may only fetch a few dollars, while the same error in an uncirculated or mint state condition like MS64 or MS65 can reach the $349 mark or even exceed it, and this is due to the added rarity of a flawless or near-flawless error coin, which makes it a top-tier target for collectors trying to complete high-grade registry sets or display-worthy pieces, and thus coins graded by trusted authorities like PCGS or NGC with error notations and high grades are especially prized, and in some cases, an error may not even be dramatic but still add value if it's a recognized die variety cataloged by experts such as in the Cherry Picker's Guide or Kanika listings, and as more collectors enter the hobby and increase demand for interesting, affordable errors, coins like the 1986 D penny with eye-catching flaws and certified status become hot items in auctions, online marketplaces, and private collections. And as for the $349 valuation, it is often realized in cases where a coin combines dramatic error, strong visual appeal, good centering, full strike, and minimal post-mint damage, meaning that while many examples exist, only the top specimens reach those upper price levels, making them both rare and desirable. And part of the appeal also lies in the surprise factor that a coin worth just 1 cent at face value can be worth hundreds if it simply missed the normal production path due to some mishap or mechanical hiccup, and that possibility fuels the thrill for treasure hunters, hobbyists, and everyday people who check their change hoping to find such overlooked gems. And educational outreach like this helps to spread awareness so that more people know what to look for and why it's worth looking at every penny twice before tossing it into a jar or machine, because hidden value is often missed due to ignorance or neglect, and that's what makes the 1986 D penny such a fascinating topic for collectors and casual viewers alike, proving that even in an era of digital payments and cashless transactions, physical coins still hold mysteries, stories, and sometimes surprisingly high monetary worth, and with more examples being submitted for grading and discovery every year, the intrigue only deepens, meaning that whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just starting out, there's always value in learning, searching, and appreciating the little details that make coins not just currency but artifacts of a process where art, machinery, history, and randomness all intersect in unpredictable ways. And who knows, maybe the next time you find a 1986 D penny in your pocket, it won't just be worth 1 cent, it might be a small fortune waiting to be discovered, so keep your eyes open. Last 2001 1 cent USA coin, we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins that might just be sitting in your pocket change right now, and today's spotlight is on an extraordinary find that's causing a stir among collectors and enthusiasts alike, the 2001 1 cent coin, a humble penny that in certain rare instances has commanded prices as high as $388 due to a combination of errors, mistakes, and minting anomalies that transform it from a common coin into a sought-after treasure. And while most people might pass over a 2001 penny without a second thought, thinking it to be just another low-value copper-plated zinc coin from the Philadelphia or Denver Mint, those who know what to look for understand that subtle deviations in the minting process can produce rare variations that, once authenticated and verified by numismatic experts, drive up the coin's market value to astonishing heights. And in the case of the 2001 penny, several factors converge to make it exceptionally interesting, such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, die clashes, plating issues, and other production mistakes that occur during high-speed minting operations when quality control occasionally lets a few flawed coins slip through the cracks and into public circulation. And when collectors find these anomalies, demand skyrockets because each error type offers its own unique allure, and beginning with double die errors, which are among the most popular and well-documented mistakes, where the coin's design elements, such as the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or the date itself, appear to be slightly doubled or ghosted, often visible to the naked eye but best viewed under magnification, and this doubling occurs not after the coin is struck but during the die creation process itself when the hub used to make the die slips or is misaligned, transferring the design multiple times onto the die and thereby creating a tool that then stamps out hundreds of coins with this fascinating visual defect. And if such a double die occurred on the obverse or reverse of a 2001 cent, especially if sharply defined and well-centered, collectors would consider it highly valuable, often bidding hundreds of dollars to secure one in high grade. But double dies are only the beginning, because another sought-after error is the off-center strike, which happens when a blank planchet is not properly seated within the collar of the coin press, causing the resulting strike to fall partially off the intended surface, and depending on how far off-center the strike is, and whether the date remains fully visible, such a coin can vary greatly in value, with dramatic examples, especially those that are 50% off-center but still show the date, fetching premium prices because they are both aesthetically intriguing and rare. And the 2001 penny is known to have had some of these off-center issues, making them targets for collectors who value unique minting mishaps. And closely related to this are broad strikes, where the collar that normally shapes the coin's edge fails to engage, allowing the metal to spread outward and create a wider, flatter coin that lacks the standard raised rim. And such examples from 2001 are equally prized when certified by grading services. But another interesting category involves die clashes, a condition where the two dies that strike a coin make contact with each other without a planchet in between, thereby imprinting part of the opposing dies' design into each other and resulting in coins that carry ghost images or partial outlines from the other side's design. And when such a clash is dramatic and obvious, especially on the relatively simple design of the Lincoln cent, it becomes a major point of interest for collectors who seek out these dramatic deviations from the norm. And then we must consider coins struck on the wrong planchet entirely, such as a 2001 cent accidentally struck on a dime planchet, which would result in a smaller, lighter coin missing some design elements and appearing quite unusual. And although exceedingly rare, examples of wrong planchet errors from various years have surfaced and sold for significant sums, so the possibility remains intriguing for the 2001 date as well, especially when authenticated by professionals who can confirm the weight, dimensions, and metal composition. Which leads us into the topic of plating errors, a particularly relevant concern for post-1982 pennies, which are primarily composed of zinc and plated in copper. And on occasion, the plating process goes awry, resulting in coins with exposed zinc streaks, blistered or peeling surfaces, or even completely missing copper layers on one or both sides of the coin, creating stark visual contrast and marking the piece as a serious mint error. And 2001 cents with such dramatic plating issues have been found and command serious interest from specialists in error coinage, and sometimes the error isn't visible until the coin corrodes or tones in unusual ways due to the compromised metal layers, which is why many collectors keep a keen eye on any unusual surface textures or coloration when examining their pocket change. And in addition to these dramatic errors, there are more subtle anomalies that can still affect value, such as weak strikes caused by insufficient pressure or die wear, resulting in faded design elements, or die chips and cuds where parts of the die break off, leading to raised blob-like areas on the coin that interrupt the normal design and often occur around the edges of letters or Lincoln's profile. And while minor die chips may not add much value, larger or more oddly placed ones can spark significant collector interest, especially if they're unusual enough to earn a nickname, such as the BIE error, where a chip forms between the letters B and E in Liberty, resembling an added I. And a 2001 penny with such a flaw might not reach $388 on its own, but in combination with other issues, or if particularly dramatic, could do so, especially in top uncirculated condition, which brings us to the all-important factor of coin grade, because condition is king in the world of numismatics, and a coin with a rare error in poor condition might only be worth a few dollars, but the same error in a mint state grade, such as MS65 or higher, can command many times the price due to the coin's visual appeal and scarcity in such preserved state. And collectors often submit promising finds to grading services like PCGS or NGC to get an official grade and authentication of the error type, which greatly enhances marketability and value. And many of the 2001 pennies that have reached the $388 mark have done so because they were both error coins and in top-tier condition, sometimes found in original bank rolls or mint sets that protected them from the wear and tear of circulation. And it's also worth noting that collector demand is often driven by trends, and Lincoln cents as a series have a dedicated following, with many collectors aiming to complete full date and mint mark sets or specializing in error varieties. And any new discovery, such as a previously undocumented double die or major strike error from 2001, can create a buzz that sends prices soaring temporarily as collectors rush to secure a piece before the supply dries up. And this speculative aspect of coin collecting adds another layer of excitement for those who hunt through rolls or sift through change in search of that one remarkable penny that stands out from the rest. And while the odds of finding a $388 2001 penny in your pocket are admittedly low, they're not zero, and many such coins have been discovered by chance by people who had no idea what they were holding until someone more knowledgeable pointed out the coin's unusual features, leading to a deep dive into research, forums, and eventually a grading submission that confirmed the coin's hidden value, and stories of lucky finds, such as a person paying for lunch with change and being handed back a rare off-center 2001 penny, continue to inspire new treasure hunters who now see every coin as a potential prize, and this excitement feeds back into the market, driving prices higher for known errors and encouraging ongoing scrutiny of everyday currency. And in the case of the 2001 penny, this is all magnified by the fact that it comes from a time when mint production was high and yet quality control was still fallible, meaning a wide variety of errors might have been produced but few survived due to their subtlety or being overlooked and spent like any other cent, so the few that are now known become all the more valuable for their scarcity and survival. And even speculative errors, such as transitional planchets or coins struck using misaligned dies from other years, add to the mystique and the potential for yet undiscovered varieties to be found, and this element of the unknown is what keeps the hobby fresh, dynamic, and perpetually exciting, and why so many collectors obsess over minute details, poring over coins with loupes and microscopes in hopes of uncovering the next big discovery. And the 2001 penny, with its potential for dramatic errors, subtle flaws, and intriguing anomalies, perfectly represents the thrill of the hunt and the rewards it can bring, both financial and intellectual, to those willing to look closer, dig deeper, and educate themselves on what makes a coin truly special. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just getting started, always keep your eyes open for the ordinary-looking coin that might turn out to be something extraordinary, because that's exactly what happened with the 2001 1-cent piece that sold for $388. What appeared at first glance to be just another penny turned out to be a rare gem, thanks to its combination of error types, pristine condition, and collector demand. And with millions of pennies out there still waiting to be examined, your chance of finding the next valuable one might